Good evening. This is the Walpole Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, April 10th, in person, and it's also being streamed on Walpole Media. So, first hearing tonight is notice of intent on Turner Pond Beach. Town of Walpole Conservation Commission notice of intent in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act and Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Notice is hereby given the intent of Walpole Ponds Committee to perform at 341 Elm Street, Turner's Pond, Walpole, Mass., map 24, lots 14 and 15, beach nourishment within the 100-foot buffer zone. Application and plans may be viewed at the Conservation Commission office or at online. Public hearing in the above matter will be held in person on April 10th, beginning at 7 p.m. All interested persons request to be present. Time is now 7:01. And do we have a representative from the applicant? I'll make a note, I guess, that no one from the Ponds Committee is present.
I think there should be plans in the file, so I don't know if you want to move forward with the application, or you want to continue it.
I would think, is this all?
Yeah, there's a few copies, I'm sorry, they didn't get presented out to the commission, but there should be copies of the plan and copies of the notice intent with a summary description.
Okay.
What do we need here?
Thank you.
The sharing,
Okay.
you guys sharing that one? or-
Yeah.
Thank you.
So so back in 2011, a notice of intent was submitted to cut about 500 square feet of vegetation along the edge of the pond in front of the Turner Pond Lodge, and then to go in and put sand in front of the lodge from the dock area towards the end of the lodge where a beach was created. Historically, the beach had been there some time ago, and it was allowed to recreate the beach again so that people could go in there and fish. When there was skating, it was an area that was cleared and people could walk out on the ice and everything. And the 2012 Order of Conditions expired, and that was not continued, and no certificate of compliance was issued for it, even though there were several continuing conditions that allowed for the maintenance of the beach. So when the Ponds Committee came to me again and asked to rake out the beach, take out the old sand areas that weren't working very well, and then replenish it, I informed them that they'd have to file a new notice of intent. So I put together the notice of intent, and the plan that's provided is really the plan that was approved back in 2012. And in my report, I've included the findings back then, and also the special conditions that were issued at the time, which describe how to remove the vegetation and how to put the sand down and the area where the sand should go, and that there could be maintenance of the beach there afterwards.
Okay. And that is, they did remove that and did expand the beach area?
Back
There
in
was-
2012, yeah.
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 So what do they want to, is it just sand that they want to do now, or is there more? Are they expanding this area, or did some of it regrow?
So when they came in the last time, Chairman, you weren't here, was for an informal discussion. The way they presented it was they wanted to rake out the area of the beach of some of the areas where the sand got probably mixed with dirt and they wanted to then replenish the sand area. I did go out there and notice that they did, sort of do some shrub cutting maintenance area a little bit further down beyond the, lodge and, where the picnic tables were, but that's, so I would also include a condition to that in the order if you guys decide to issue it, just that there could be maintenance of the woody vegetation around the picnic tables so that people could still go out there and enjoy the picnic table area.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, as I said, I did watch
There may be
the
Aerial
show,
in the file too. Aerial that-
but it was difficult to understand because none of them were using the microphone.
Yeah, and the notice and intent package, obviously the black and white is a little bit more difficult to see, but you can see the beach area, which is the lighter area. There's probably in the file, there's one copy that's in color, that would be the original copy. So that would be, Jack, this packet,
This is,
I think that's it.
okay. Bailey, any questions? Comments?
No.
Doug?
Just one question on the flood part of this.
Yep.
Is it based on like the 100-year storm, or how do they, what do they determine for the,
The flood map is from FEMA,
okay.
yeah. So it's the,
All right, so they didn't do this, they got it from,
I got it. They
Yeah,
did
okay.
nothing. They
Yeah.
did absolutely nothing.
All right, but
I
it's-
did everything here.
but it's a FEMA flood map.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the FEMA map is what I included,
Okay.
the elevation.
Okay, that was my only question.
Media?
No, thanks, Landis, for putting this together. I know
Yeah, no
that
problem.
it's good that this was done to cross the Ts and dot the Is and all that, so, sounds like it's just general maintenance that they want to do, and just cleaning up the sand and adding some sand and just maintaining the area, so I don't have any issues with it.
Okay. So we'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I make a motion?
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
400. And for the order, we have.
So if you look at my reports, Jack, so, what I did is included from the original order, the order conditions is for clearing and maintenance of the area in front of the Turner Lodge to the ramp known historically as the beach. The commission approved the removal of, about 500 square feet of bordering rigid wetlands along the bank, Turner's Pond, to allow for the reestablishment of the sand beach for recreational purposes. So I would just, customize it for not, that can still remain. And conditions being vegetation shall be removed with handheld tools only. Vegetation and sand augmentation shall occur during dry weather. The approved beach area extends from the gravel access way along the shore to the outer corner of the lodge only. All other understory areas shall remain in their natural state, but we can change that just to include maintenance of the area along the parking lot, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense, where the picnic tables are.
Okay.
During delivery of sand, any tire, that's supposed to be tire, not tire ruts shall be raked out to existing grade. Maintenance of the beach area may be conducted without any further requirements, and we can also include that area by the picnic tables.
Landis, the asterisk after each one, does that refer to anything, or is that just?
Just that it's meant to be a continued condition, so.
Okay.
So the commission can issue a certificate of compliance and reference the continued conditions, and then they can occur without any further
Okay,
filings.
okay.
Is the sand being brought in by truck, by a dump truck, or?
That was one of the things that they didn't quite answer at the meeting last time. He just said the sand was gonna come and be fluffed up. So, but I imagine probably from the parking lot, they'll back up, dump the sand, and then rake it out. They have a small, must be a small front loader that they used for the
okay.
skating operation out there. So they can do it pretty easily from the parking lot without
Yep.
damaging any other
Trees.
vegetation
Yeah.
or trees.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been some trees cut down there, I'm assuming because they were hazardous.
Okay. All right. So someone would make a motion to issue the order as noted.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
400. All right.
Okay.
I'll have to take Dean off the signature pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like the last one.
What, do you plan to send Ponds Committee a note that this was, order of conditions was
Absolutely.
completed
Yeah.
on, and that they can come into the office and pick it up? Rather, I wouldn't send it to them, let them come in and pick it up.
Yeah, I'll let them know there's a copy. We'll
Yeah.
record at the registry of deeds and put in the file in the office and make sure they get a copy.
I was just saying it'd be better if they come in, make sure that they have seen it and
Yeah,
look at it,
yeah,
not
Agreed.
just. And disappointed they didn't show up for the hearing. All right. I don't seem to have,
so do you wanna put together the file and then, what are you looking for, Jack?
I don't
No.
seem to have your,
Yeah, well, why don't you close up the file,
Yeah.
that's, yeah,
this is
Yep,
part
that
of
goes in
this,
there.
right? Yeah,
that was the original memo.
right.
And then, look at, is it underneath the minutes?
No. I don't have your report. Did you send it out?
It should have been in your folder.
It wasn't in the
report.
folder.
Yeah, it's in there.
I have a copy.
But you didn't send it out, email it out.
No, it was finished today, so I just put it in the folders.
It's just not there, Jack.
Not here, not in there,
It's not in here.
not there.
Nothing in my sleeve.
You want my copy?
If you would.
How did you lose
Yeah, use mine.
minutes,
Just ignore my notes on the side.
agenda?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You fired, Jeff.
and the other thing was this,
It was a
yeah,
good
you
vote.
probably,
Correct. Good job.
this is the
Hey, we're in a
next
fourth
one.
grade grade.
Hey, you know?
We have no agenda. Did you put it on the agenda thing?
You need an agenda? I have two.
Oh, okay, I'll take.
What is
There
happening?
was one here, and I had one that Josh sent out last week.
Did you put it on the agenda?
At this point, I'm confused, so I don't know. All I
Today-
know is the information's here.
Today's,
Luckily,
Nebulously.
it's a short meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, you have the next
this
pair,
is-
right?
Town of Walpole, Commonwealth of Massachusetts Conservation Commission, notice of intent and slash, land disturbance permit. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw and Stormwater Management Bylaw, notice hereby given the intent of Michael Freiberger to perform activity at 1049 West Street, Walpole, Mass. Map 38, Lot 51 and 56, including expansion of the existing nursery with associated grading, septic, and stormwater management. Alteration of over 40,000 square feet of land is proposed, and a portion of the work will occur within the 100-foot buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetland. The application and plans may be viewed at the Conservation Commission office or online. The Walpole public hearing in the above matter will be held in person, March 27, 2024, beginning 7:15 PM. All interested persons request to be present. Hearing's been opened and continued. And is there a,
There should be an email in there from, Scott Henderson, requesting continuance.
okay, this is Scott Henderson, dated April 8th. Please consider this email formal request for continuance, 1049 West Street. Hearing to the April 24th meeting. All right, what have we got on for April 24th?
We have everything up to 7:10, so our next meeting would be, next open slot would be 7:20.
So that, those are 12,
Yeah,
maybe not 12, but 11, those
Yeah.
are all the lots in Northwood Estates. So we scheduled them 1 minute apart, that's why it's only to 7:10, but just in context.
Gotcha.
It will take longer.
if you
but-
wanted to put it for 7:30 for Michael, for the continued.
Probably better. April, all right, next meeting, I don't see anything on here for the time. So our next hearing is April 24th. We have, what is it?
7:30.
What is that? What,
So there's 11
Yeah,
11
from where?
applications from Northwood
Northwood
Estates.
Estates? Okay.
Yeah, and we just scheduled them really close to
Yeah.
each other so that they could just go
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from one to the next.
So there are 11 lots.
Yeah, I think there's 13, but there was a couple that didn't
There was
require
two that-
anything.
Yeah, that were just fast track terms.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the only thing on right now, and that's on at 7?
7 to 7:10, well, but it would probably
Okay.
extend beyond that. so-
Yeah, all right, so make this, make it 7:30. That's for, what is this one?
1049 West.
1049 West Street. Make that at 7:30. So we make that a motion?
I'll move it.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. So the continued land disturbance permit and notice of intent for 1049 West Street, MF Landscaping has been continued to April 24th at 7:30.
Okay.
Okay.
And our next hearing is 130 West Street. Is that happening? Hmm?
We have another correspondent requesting a continuance.
Okay. Spent all that time looking at the, we'll have to wait till 7:30.
We'll do the minutes. I can move the minutes if anyone.
So we'll do, we have minutes from March 27th. We'll do- Have a correction, whatever it
You
is.
can't correct them, you weren't here.
I know, that's why it's a correction.
Oh, okay.
So it must be the other set. It was the minutes, that was it, the minutes of the prior meeting. Okay. On the last page,
Okay.
the minutes from March 13th,
I don't know.
I abstained from that.
Okay.
Other than that, I didn't have any other issue. So, someone want to move the minutes as noted?
I will move them.
In a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
400, okay. All right. Now, what else have we got? You done anything more on the tree cutting?
Yeah, I just have some, I don't have a copy yet, but I just have some questions in my report. So did you get a copy of the report from Josh?
I have a report here someplace. Okay.
So I've just been researching different towns that have tree cutting, removal policies, as well as reviewing the Wetlands Protection Act regulations. And there's really nothing in the Wetlands Protection Act and regulations that allow tree cutting other than going through an RDA or a notice of intent, except there's tree trimming for views. But some towns, and there's quite a few of them that seem to have some kind of administrative policy. If the homeowner has a tree or two, they're considered dangerous and they want to remove it and it's in the buffer zone, they usually have some towns have a protocol, and up to now, it's usually I go out there and I just talk on an
Yeah.
individual basis, but it just seems to be happening more and more and more, and that's why I brought this up, that it would be good to have some kind of policy from you guys of when it could be just something in the field, or when, and then some guidelines as to that, or when they have to come in for an RDA or notice of intent.
Yeah. You know, just thinking out loud, if you're within the 100-foot, if tree's not gonna pose any hazard if it falls within, well, I don't know, I accept it to be taken on a case-by-case basis, but I think any work within the 100-foot should be, at the very least, kind of brought before you and say, hey, there's a tree, can you take a look at it? Something like that, you know?
Right, and that's what, at first I was heading towards having some kind of
You want something more?
checklist, some kind of policies, so
Okay,
they
so,
know kind of ahead of time, if they have, a lot of these, policies, it's 5 trees, so if it's 5 trees or less, and
oh, really?
they consider them a hazard, then they can be evaluated, and they would get, an arborist to come out and take a look at them, and then they have to, some kind of certification from the arborist, and
Yeah, because
then
what
you have to plant something after that.
constitutes a danger, right? You
I know,
That
I
gets-
mean, the more I start thinking of this, the more I was like, some have really complicated policies, and to me, that's just like way too much. And then some have, not so complicated, and some just say, mostly with everything, you have to file an RDA or a notice of intent. And then they have a protocol for, if you take a tree down, you have to plant a tree, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
So you've surveyed different towns and they have a different, wide variety of different,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's the Massachusetts Conservation Agent Group, I can't remember the acronym at all. So we have this kind of ongoing question and answer email thing, so I threw it out to
yeah.
that and got back several different policies from all sorts of different agents, including, one that I used was from Weston.
Yeah.
They had a good one, and Webster, and they both have good ones, but they don't connect it to anything in the Wetlands Protection Act, so it's kind of, it's a policy.
Yeah.
Well, it would seem that you have some kind of distinction between a dead tree that has a potential falling, just because it's dead, and could be potentially, whose definition of hazardous are you gonna listen to?
Right.
And it's usually the tree company that's getting the job who looks at the tree and says, oh, yeah, it's, you know, and tells the homeowner, yes, it could be compromised.
Subjective.
Well,
you know, I
there
think-
are situations where a storm might break
Sure.
the upper half of the tree and it's leaning, and it's an area where kids play underneath. You know, so there's potential hazards there that
It
sometimes
definitely is.
you have to make some quick decisions on.
But then also you have houses that are built,
Too
people
close
buy
to,
these houses
right next to
to
it.
trees
yeah.
and wetlands, and then they wanna cut a lot of them down, so it's kind of
Yeah.
it's a difficult decision to make in the field.
Yeah. I would say to your point, if it's, if it's a dead tree or substantially damaged from a storm and poses a hazard, and, that's, but again, I don't know how you eliminate the subjectivity out of that.
It would seem to me if you just have a single tree that get cut down without causing other disturbance, that should not require a filing.
Okay.
If you're looking at something coming in and you're gonna bring a truck, a crane truck or whatever type of vehicle in to get it, and that would be operating within within our jurisdiction, that we, again, looking at what it is, but they need to, would have to clean up after whatever disturbance, if any, that the vehicle made. You know, if it's in a wetland area and you drive a vehicle on it, you're gonna have some ruts and potential damage to the turf.
So, if I'm hearing you right, Jack, if it's in a resource area, then they should file?
If it's gonna disturb the area. If it's just go in and somebody can go and cut that tree down, remove it, cut it down, not necessarily remove it, because leaving it there is, sometimes it could be considered beneficial to habitat.
yeah.
But that would remove the hazard situation.
So one tree is what
Well,
you're
even
saying?
it could be more than one, depending upon I think
Yeah,
it's
same.
a little common, if you got, it's tough to put a number on it, somebody's gonna cut 20, that's one thing, you got 2 or 3,
Because
Anyway,
under the act, cutting 2 trees, there's really nothing in the act that says
Yeah.
it's exempt from the Wetlands Protection Act, so.
I just think we should be practical about it and not require a filing for, for
So-
a simple process of cutting down a tree.
It's
If-
not simple, though, that's the thing. So the 2 examples I'm kind of struggling with right now. One is, I think it's 2 or 3 trees on the edge of a pond that the homeowner feels like they're a hazard. They have had a tree company come out who will do the work, and they're saying that they also could be a hazard. It doesn't seem if they would fall in the house, they would fall in the pond. And they want to take them down. And I was first approached, and just, can I do it? And
See, I would say,
right, so I said, well, file an RDA. So that's gonna be coming as an RDA. Then there's,
There are 3 large trees, is this
they're red maple trees, yeah, they're trees.
good size?
And I look at it, doesn't seem to pose a risk to me. It doesn't, I guess if you're walking in the backyard and it falls, then yeah, but the house is on the pond, it's
Right,
been
so
there
they're
for a long
gonna file.
time. It's probably gonna wipe out any of the trees that are there. There's only a few vegetation left in the yard. And those trees are now, homeowner is saying they're hazard. Another instance also was, backyard, again, 4 trees on the edge of the pond, right on the edge of the pond, and homeowner wanted to take them down, because he also thought it was a hazard, but it's also because he just put solar on his roof, and they were blocking his solar panels. Again, I said RDA on that. But I also often will have homeowners call me with trees that are kind of at the edge of wetlands or usually not in wetlands. And often what I say, well, you can cut them halfway, because if it falls, that's not gonna damage your house. You can cut them to the point where if it falls, it's not gonna damage your house. That's been an answer that I've given as well. Or yes, you have to take it from the top down.
Yep.
With a crane and not go into the wetlands,
That makes
and
sense.
all that is great.
Yeah.
I would like to put down a policy so that I can give that, what the commission wants me to convey to homeowners in the field, and we can post it on the website so people kind of know. But then obviously, there's a kind of case-by-case scenarios.
No matter what you come up with,
That's
put
right.
in writing, there's gonna be somebody who has something that doesn't quite fit.
Right, and then
So
we'll have to
this
submit
is,
an
so
RDA.
this is,
Yeah.
well,
Then you guys
that
have to
or,
decide, not me.
or,
Right.
or, discuss, depending what it is, the answer could be an RDA or,
Absolutely, right.
or an on-site inspection and see what, maybe in conjunction with, if an arborist is suggesting that something be done. Because we've had other issues where a tree that's on conservation land has fallen onto private property, and we've had to address that,
Yep,
which I think is probably a fallen tree as well as a standing tree. If we're doing something about trees, what do we do with that? Homeowner can remove it, what's on his property if he
Well,
wants to.
really, my understanding with that and property owners, if there's a tree that falls on your property from another property, you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, well, we've had that, they've requested
Yeah.
the town to take care of it.
Yeah, that's kind of another, that's usually a financial issue,
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
but is that something to include with this policy?
It could be if you want to include it.
It'd be, since it doesn't, we don't have anything to cover that, then we might as well do that, include that as well.
So how would you phrase that? If the town's not responsible if one of their trees falls on your property?
I think, isn't the law that says that if it's a dead tree or something that should have been addressed? Yeah, it's something like that, that the person's tree should take care of. But if it's just a healthy tree that happens to get blown over onto your yard, you own it. That's, in summary, that's kind of what,
Yeah, you own it on your property.
right, but if it's a
not
dead
on the
tree, that's
opposite
something you should
property.
have taken care of, something to that effect,
Yeah.
you have to.
Oh.
So, I don't know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, but regarding your question about the trees, I think that you can't put a number on the number of trees. It's so, I think if it's dead or substantially damaged from a storm, that you have the discretion to allow them to, and it poses an imminent danger to their home or people, then you have the discretion maybe of
well, the other
allowing.
thing you have is, you could have a number of small trees, if we get the right kind of storm, damage
Yeah.
a bunch of them, and.
That's why you
there'll
can't
be
say
a-
2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
or whatever.
so, okay, you can clean those up because they look terrible, but replant something. That would be, if it's a reasonable place to replant, a replacement. Again, I think it's.
So you're saying live trees that were damaged or fallen, live trees?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
not-
get a wind shear
Right.
that can destroy a small area, and usually it doesn't uproot them, they just cut them off halfway,
Yeah.
and so you got a mess. And that, to me,
That
would be clean it up, cut them all, cut all the damaged ones down, and then if it's an appropriate place to
Just
to
Sounds like
replant
you
something.
still want it to be like a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I think you've got to try to come up in writing with every scenario that is, that somebody, that you're gonna be faced with for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
not
that's what
gonna,
we're
it's not
asking
gonna
for.
work.
I don't think that's what, maybe what I'll do is I'll send out some of the examples of what other towns have
Yeah.
done that, that they, kind of start with a guideline for, under 5 trees that are damaged, that have observable damage from insects or other reasons that could be taken down. Other than that, you'd have to file an RDA or a notice in time, but I'll send out a couple of the examples.
Yeah, why don't you put something
Yeah.
in writing, we can
Yeah.
look those over and see what
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean,
I
even if it's, if there's that scenario of, there's a couple of hazardous trees in your yard that are damaged by windstorm or insects or lightning or whatever, and you're allowed to take them down, well, then you plant a tree or 3 shrubs or whatever afterwards,
Yeah, I think we should,
written down.
yeah, it would try to keep some vegetation, you're removing
Yeah.
some, that you replace some, that wouldn't necessarily have to be the same, replace a tree that maybe the same thing's gonna happen to in 20 years, maybe shrubbery or some,
Yeah, it
without.
would just help for me to
Yeah.
have some kind of guidelines, just so I don't have to
Wing it.
wing it every time. I hate to say this, because I've been doing this for a long time. The older I get, sometimes I don't always remember, so I want to make sure I'm consistent
Well,
with
sure.
what I'm telling people.
Right.
And it's usually intuitive. A lot of it for me at this point is intuitive when I'm in the field with what they should or shouldn't do for the least damage of the wetlands. But
Right.
I want to be there too, so that we have
Yeah.
kind of like somewhat of a guideline that they can look at.
Yeah, I think we do something without it being overly burdensome on
Right.
the property
Simple.
owner.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Okay. All right, now what do we have here?
So we have the 130 West.
Town of Walpole, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Conservation Commission Land Disturbance Permit, accordance with Walpole Stormwater Management Bylaw, hereby given in the intent of West End Residences LLC to construct at 130 West Street and 25 Spring Street, Walpole, Mass., map 33, lot 398 and 399, a mixed-use commercial residential building with a paved parking area and associated appurtenances over 40,000 square feet of disturbance. Application plans may be viewed at the Conservation Commission office or online. The public hearing, the above matter will be held in person 3/13/24, beginning 7 PM. All interested persons are going to be present. Hearing's been opened and continued. We have a letter from Mackey dated April 8th. As counsel for on behalf of the applicant and the above captioned matter, it is respectfully requested the public hearing scheduled for Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, be continued without testimony until the next possible meeting. I think we have enough on with those other hearings.
Yeah, and I did bring that up to them. I told them that our agenda for the 24th was pretty stacked already, and would be okay if we went to the 8th. And they seemed okay with that.
Well, I think that's what we should do.
Yeah.
Move it to the 8th. So,
we already have
May
a
8th,
hearing
we've got,
scheduled at 7 o'clock, the Brook Lane continuance.
yeah, Brook Lane, right. So this would be, want to make it 7:30? We don't have anything else at this point, right? For the 8th?
Right,
Okay.
so you're gonna schedule
I
it,
would say that, and that I would expect going, because he goes before zoning prior to our meeting, I believe, he said.
which one?
The Brook Lane. I think he's-
Yes. I think he also has to go through planning, so I don't know where he is with that, but he's already scheduled for 7 o'clock on May 8th.
We can make this 7:20 for, whatever this one is. 130 West Street, 7:20. So we'll make that a motion.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Okay.
400.
So 130 West Street has been continued to May 8th at 7:20.
Yes.
Nate? Okay.
And what else do we have on here? Tree policy.
Enforcement orders.
Okay, under the enforcement orders, anything new on 15 Pinnacle?
Oh, on 15 Pinnacle, the erosion control line was reestablished as requested. So if you want to vacate that, I'm good with that.
So he's now in compliance?
Yes.
Okay, so someone want to make that a motion to vacate the non-compliance issue on 15 Pinnacle?
I will move it.
Get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
400. Do we have to sign anything?
Nope.
Okay,
We'll just send him a letter.
okay.
And then the enforcement order that was issued back in 2022, I believe, for Burns Ave, for the clearing of the site, the erosion control, the reestablishing the wetlands flags. It still hasn't been fully vacated yet, even though it was on 3151200, which predated the current one, which is 1233. And the erosion control for that site was recently, in early March, reestablished. And DP went out, both Jack and I were out there on March 28th. DP had a site visit because Wall Street Development is requesting an extension of the SOC for 3151233, which is the current SOC for that development at this moment. And they did a site walk, and the punch list, which needs to be taken care of before the extension, is to make sure that all the wetlands flags are there. There's a couple that are missing, which is the same issue that we had. And the erosion controls needed to be adjusted at flag A2, which was also the same issue we had, and between A1 and A3. And that the order of conditions under 3151200, that Wall Street Development should request a certificate of compliance, because basically that'll close that one out, since there's two orders on the same property. And Mr. Petruzzi did send another email saying he would take care of those items prior to DEP issuing the extension. And I just wanted to know if there's any additional comments that the commission wants to provide DEP in regards to the extension. Now's the time to do it.
Okay, is the applicant supposed to send something to us to vacate that original order? Or the 1200 order, or
That's
do
what,
we take that initiative?
oh, no, they do it.
So we have to wait for them to send us a request?
Yeah, which I'm a little confused, because it's SOC, but he's instructed, the DP person, Peter, instructed Wall Street Development to request a COC on that.
It
order.
says here, a request should be, oh, okay, should be made
Yes.
with, so that puts
Yeah.
the burden on the applicant.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yep.
all right, so we wait to hear from him on that.
Right, and do you recall that request for COCs on a superseding order of conditions comes the commission? Not DP?
I would have thought it'd be DEP,
I would have
but
too. And I don't know if it's because this guy is new or because.
I don't know if it makes any
and
difference.
If it doesn't make a
Yeah.
difference.
No, but nothing will be done till, if he sends it to us, then we'll, and he does say here, the file number via WPA for Form 8A with lapsed box checked.
Yeah, that's the standard
So-
form for requesting a certificate of compliance, yes.
Okay, so, all right, so we're just waiting on
Yep.
that now.
You want
What
any,
else
and
is
that's
there?
it, you don't have any other additional comments for?
No, I guess if he does those things, then we're waiting to see the revised drawings that asked him to do at the last hearing to clean up the drawings so we know what he's actually filing for. Because he had stuff from 3 different filings on,
Right,
on
but
the
at this
plans.
point, he can move forward on the prep work for the road construction under the SOC and the 40B permit.
once he gets this done and gets the SOC from DEP.
The extension,
Yeah, the extension.
yes.
So he can't do anything until he gets the extension, which I would expect we would be notified that DEP has issued an extension.
Yes.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to wait for the approval on the bylaw. So everyone knows, doesn't have to wait. He can move forward on the road construction and the site work under the SOC and the 40B permit.
Even though that's not what he's, supposedly, what they
That's-
said, if I recall correctly, was that that work was the same on this new filing. So, he gets that, and he wants to proceed on that. Well, the extension, but did DEP actually, they, I mean, so many filings here, did DEP actually approve? Seems to me they disapproved the original, we disapproved it, and they did, if I'm thinking of the same filing.
What are you referring
Oh,
to
the
as the
40B.
original?
The 40B,
The first number of unit 40B, no, they issued an SOC on that. That's the 315-1200.
and that's the one that's gonna be canceled, right?
Yes,
Okay, so that's, then there was another filing,
right, which is the 1233.
all right, and we denied it. And I thought DEP upheld our denial with the number of units. But I think all he's,
I don't know if we denied it. I can't remember honestly, but they issued an SOC. The DP has never denied it. They've always
no,
issued.
we did. But then I thought the DEP upheld at least part of the reasoning for that they had to remove those, all I can remember is when they came around the bend on that, they had houses, had buildings. And that was within the riverfront area that, and it said they, the rest was all right, but they had to take those out of that area.
Yes, that's correct. But
And
they
I thought
they
DEP
approved the SOC, they issued a superseding order of conditions
that agreed with our,
that covered the
Position.
development,
yeah.
yes.
Now, that's the one that he is now presently,
Requesting an extension,
okay?
an amendment of that.
An amendment.
Because it was also amended
Okay.
from multiple condo units to single-family houses.
Okay.
You need a flow chart for this kind of thing, you know?
Yes, you
Because
do.
he's got a different layout now. The layout he has now of the buildings is different from that order.
Not a plan, yes.
Yeah.
So
But the
if he wants
roadway,
to
he
go.
said, if I remember what he said correctly, that the roadway is the same, and that's what he wants to work on. So if he has an order, once he gets this done, what DEP's asked him to do, he would then have an existing order that he can do work on.
The only difference is the 25-foot no alteration area. Usually, yeah,
Well-
I think his intent originally was to do the road and also take out the material in that area and start constructing
that's-
the stormwater basin and the buffer area.
But that's not,
But you
that
can't-
has not been approved.
It has under the SOC and the 40P, so he can do whatever he wants. And then at some point when he's ready and he gets the
But you can't
bylaw
cherry pick.
approved,
You can't cherry pick what you, right? Yeah,
so it kind of is, but it is at this point, so I think his intent is to move forward with the latest plan that he's provided to us and the zoning board of appeals if it's approved, and if it's not approved, then he'll go forward with the plan that is approved. That's my understanding.
Yeah, but there's a difference, and this is what we had at the last meeting, was the retention area that he wanted, he wants to take some exceptions to the 25-foot no disturb area.
It's actually I don't know how much we should really get into discussing this project without the applicant here or not, but I just wanted to bring up the extension, so just to be aware BP is gonna be issuing an extension on the 1233, and once he gets that, he can move forward on the plans that have been approved.
Right.
As far as discussions on the other plan, then that's kind of ongoing at this point, yeah. I would caution us doing any more discussion on really the merits of the plan that's in a continuance process at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess whatever is on that plan that he's requesting the extension on, that he can proceed with that work once he gets
Correct.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then as far as the other appeals, so the Wall Street Development Pinnacle Historic Mill Complex, I don't know, we still haven't received the final decision on that from the DEP commissioner. I did actually, when I went up to the office prior to coming here, and I don't think we should go into any detail of conversation about this, I'm just conveying information that I just received tonight, that he's moving forward with a plan with the ZBA under a special permit for units there,
Which one is this now?
Pinnacle.
At Pinnacle?
Yep.
Okay.
So at some point, we'll see that, but I did send an email out to town council just asking them, and I've done this before why haven't we received a final decision on the historic mill complex appeal, and if they know anything about that.
That was historic mill appeal. I thought that was all settled. They agreed,
No.
they changed, or was we just waiting for in writing?
So the process is that the Office of Appeals and Dispute Resolution judge recommends a decision, and then it goes to the DP commissioner. Remember, Mr. Watsky, who's a lawyer, environmental lawyer, kind of explained it to the commission as well. That then it goes to DP commissioner to finalize that decision, and that, for some reason, we have not received the final decision from the DP commissioner, so.
Okay, but it's still, I thought that was all. we
It's
just-
not, because we have not received the final decision from the commissioner, and I don't know
So
why.
he could change the ruling?
It's up to his, the ruling is a recommended decision, it's not the decision.
Okay.
And then the Warwick Road extension, I just got an email again from OADR, that there should be, there's a required final status report on April 19th, because there's supposedly discussions as to how to settle that Warwick Road extension, and that has to be provided by the 24th. So that's also, 23rd. There'll be a conference with OADR on the 23rd. So last I talked to town council, I thought that the decision was that the notice of intent was going to be submitted to the commissioner. I'm not sure why
Yeah.
that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I thought that was resolved also.
Yeah.
Waiting for
In
paperwork
theory,
to
yes,
catch
but
up.
not in reality.
Okay. All right,
And I think that's pretty much it.
all right. Anybody have anything else? Okay,
No, sir.
are we ready to, okay, so we make a motion to close the hearing, meeting?
I move it.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.